we beat that? Okay, saddle up, though, for the latest movie from filmmaker and now a weatherman, Mario Van Peebles. Here's a peek.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking. She's a beauty, ain't she? She gets that golden tan when she's in the sun. Oh, wait till you see her brothers. Hey, boys, get in here. Don't be shy. All official notarized.
Looking good.
I think there's been some kind of mistake.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
We don't serve coloreds.
And the talented man behind that film joining us this morning. You just saw him doing the weather. Please welcome director, writer, actor, weatherman Mario Van Peebles. Good to see you.
Man.
Yeah,
How's everything?
I'm good. You know,
Yeah.
I looked up one day. I'd done a Western 30 years ago
Yeah.
when my dad was alive. And this time I wanted to do another one, but he's not with us anymore. But my son's there.
Yes.
And so I thought, I'll be the connective tissue. I did the first one with Pop. I'll do the second one with Mandela. And I wrote it sort of based on that Johnny Cash song, Boy Named Sue.
I like it.
About a boy that had a sort of a strange relationship with his pop. And then at a certain age, like Mark Twain said, all my life my father was an idiot, but at 21 he was a genius, meaning I started to understand him.
Right.
And so I wrote this movie, and we got incredible cast.
Yeah.
And I wanted to show the real diversity of the Wild West. The 1 out of 3 cowboys was black, Asians built the railroad,
Wow.
Native Americans were here, our Mexican brothers and sisters were here. And we seem like we're so divided right now, but really we were more divided before, and we overcame it.
Yeah.
And I said, let's make a movie, a Western.
And a comedy.
And a comedy with all this love. Make the gumbo with love, build it, and maybe they will come.
I mean, can we talk about some of the people in your cast, though?
Yeah.
You mentioned your son, Whoopi Goldberg, Edgar J. Olmos, Cedric the Entertainer,
yeah.
DC Young Fly. I mean, so many people on that list.
Yeah.
Wow, what was it like working with such an all-star cast?
You know, I like working with smart actors. I think because I'm a director-actor, I speak actor. Like, I didn't know what question you were gonna ask me, right? So it's kind of like directing from within it. And so when you're working with other people that you know can jump up and get in there and know their character, it's great. You know, so I didn't really cast Whoopi. Whoopi cast herself. Whoopi was like, Stagecoach Mary, I'm playing Stagecoach Mary.
called you
Because
up.
she knew the history that before women could vote,
Yeah.
there was a badass sister named Stagecoach Mary who had her own stagecoach, a big shotgun, a nice cigar, and ran her own business up
Yeah.
through Montana.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's show that. And at the end, you see, we don't glamorize her. She looks like Stagecoach Mary at the end. You know what I mean? And DC Young Fly and Jake Manley are in it, Emmett Walsh, Neil McDonough, who you've seen in a lot of Westerns. And then my son had a lot of practice playing my kid, so. And he's an actor.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what I wanted to do was make a film that was fun, but had some nutritional value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Outlaw Posse, people are calling it edutainment.
Yeah. Well,
That's good. That's
Edutainment.
good, right?
I like
that's
that
what
word.
often what your films do, right? Because your films entertain, but they also have an underlying message.
Because images matter. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
My dad would say, early to bed, early to rise, work like hell and advertise. Right here. And do the weather if you have to.
Wow. Yes. Was your son? Was he? What was the dynamic to direct your son?
He said something the other day, we were on something together, and he said, the advantage to working with your dad like this is you don't have to fake the drama, and you sure don't have to fake the love. So I think you feel the love, and that's great, because when you're doing an indie like this, you're not gonna see billboards everywhere. People have to ask for Outlaw Posse. Go to the theater and ask for it. But when you do a film like this, you don't have take 12. You don't have a lot of CGI or AI. You got real guy. And that means you have to ride your horse, know what you're doing. If he doesn't get in, because a lot of shots are shot in one long shot. So we have action sequences that go on where everything's got to be timed out, and people really have to ride. They got to go to cowboy school.
Wow.
And what an interesting time with the whole, I mean, you look at it, 1 out of 3 cowboys was black.
Yeah.
Now you got Beyonce, you know.
Yeah,
going
look at
in-
that, Texas Hold'em.
Yeah.
Right? And it's what an interesting time to be doing a Western.
Yeah.
And saying, really, all of America was there. We were all there. Dr.
Right.
King has a great quote where he says, we all learn to live together as brothers and sisters, or we perish together as fools. And it starts, I think, with reclaiming the imagery of something that's inclusive, that we can all go to and go, bring your expectations down low, have a beer, and enjoy a Western.
Let's rewind, though. You said you went to cowboy school?
Yeah.
That people had to go to, what was that
Yeah.
like?
Well, we created it.
Oh, okay, so you
There's not a literal school.
Yeah.
No, we brought them out early, so they had to get acclimated with the horses, know how to ride.
Did you ride before the film?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I did Posse, of course. So I
Yes.
had been riding, and my mother had horses. In my family, we got every flavor. So my mom's kind of a cowgirl. She had horses. I got a gay aunt. I got dad who's black. I got brown, yellow, green. I got a trumper in
got
my
the
family.
melting pot.
I got a love with big arms, and that's a great advantage
Love
as a
it.
human being because as a filmmaker, I feel like you bring all the flavors and love all the flavors, not just as others, but actually as your own family.
Yeah, and that's
And
like,
that makes a different dynamic.
it's like what the country is too.
Yeah,
Right?
totally.
Who was the most not willing to get on a horse?
Cedric the Entertainer.
Yeah.
Cedric said,
Did he do it?
Cedric said, I want to be in Western. Yep. I want to ride a horse. Yeah, no. But he's great in the movie. He's really good. He plays the mayor of this town called Little Heaven.
Okay.
And Edward James almost comes into it's some wild scenes because, you know, we're a mixed group of outlaws.
Yeah.
And we go into this Edward James Almost's dry goods store, and all our horses wind up missing. It's the middle of nowhere, the store. We come out, and the horses are gone. And Edward James starts laughing. He says, you know, the originals will set your horses free. You go, the originals? Go, yeah, the Indians. Because this tribe of Indians doesn't believe that human beings have the right to own any other of God's creatures. Before you get mad, understand my wife was born enslaved, and they're the same Indians that set her free. So for a mixed group of outlaws, that's like, well, how do we process that? So now we're horseless, and we got to hitch a ride with none other than Stagecoach Mary.
Well, I love this edutainment.
There you go.
And I love, you know, and I really love this story of your dad, you following in his footsteps, and now your son. That's so beautiful.
I realized the other day, my dad gave me my first lines ever in a movie, and I gave him his last lines ever in a movie.
That's beautiful.
How wild is that? What about that circle? How crazy can life be, man?
I mean, that's life.
Yeah.
What a roller coaster.
March 1st, you guys go see it?
Yes.
Get out and see it?
Yeah.
If you love it, great. If you don't love it, don't call me. Unless you want me to do the weather.
Okay.
Come back.
Well, it's such an honor to meet you. And obviously, Byron, our meteorologist, loved having you here, too.
That was so dope.
That was
And
good.
it's a hard job, man.
It is hard.
Because
He
you gotta
makes it
really,
look easy.
Yeah.
He makes it look easy.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
Really.
Did you always have the cowboy hat?
Sometimes. Yeah. In fact, you know, as a kid, I grew up watching Westerns, but it never occurred to me that I wasn't portraying the Westerns because I just was too silly. I don't know. And when I did Heartbreak Ridge with Clint Eastwood, he was the guy that said 1 out of 3 cowboys, 1 out of 4 cowboys was black. And that's why you see Morgan Freeman in Unforgiven like that.
Right.
So.
Great to have you here.